Welcome back to another episode of Decoded, a Lost Codex podcast. I am your host, Jesse, the writer, director, and narrator for the Lost Codex YouTube channel. And today, we are back with episode number 14. 14, holy moly. That is a lot of podcasts. That's not a lot of podcasts. That's not very many. But still, we're back with episode 14, and I am here with Jack. Jack is back. Welcome back, Jack.
I'm Jack. Hello. I'm a Lost Codex artist. I am a Forsaken enthusiast and literally riding Sparkle Pony right now, both in game and in my dreams.
And in real life, he's got a sparkling, glittery horse.
In real life, yes.
In Los Angeles, he's the only one. It's the only horse in Los Angeles.
They gave it to me. It was. I caught all that traffic on the 405 is actually caused by me on my horse.
So Jack is back, and there's no news to talk about this week because all the news that we would talk about in a normal podcast is actually going to be the entire bulk of the episode. We're going to be talking about 8.0 and everything that happened. 8.0, holy crap! Legion is gone. Legion is gone. Legion is in the past. Technically, it is. We are now in Battle for Azeroth, the early stages of Battle for Azeroth. That's mind blowing to me.
It is mind-blowing. What's blowing my mind is how well they've kept a lid on all of this stuff.
Right? Like, it is. I am so surprised that so many parts of Battle for Azeroth, like, we know a lot obviously from data mining, but man, what is going on?
Yeah, I only have very loose guesses about how story content's going to go next week. Obviously, we know the broad strokes, but there's a whole lot of inciting stuff. Other things that we don't know, and I'm really hyped, I'm really excited. And we had the Q&A with Ian Hazakastas today. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I believe so, yes. So we are now officially in 8.0, and that's huge to me. And Battle for Azeroth is very, very, very soon, very, very, very close, and obviously, a lot of people are going to say that, well, there's no new content in 8.0. I haven't done anything. Well, no, all the new content that's coming obviously hasn't been out yet. You know, there's a ton of class changes. And what I want to talk about, before we dive into all the fun new stuff that's happened, let's talk about what happened on Tuesday. Not on Wednesday, because Europeans, EU, you guys had a smooth launch. But US realms, we did not. Sylvanas did not get the message about Teldrassil being next week, and so she came and set the servers on fire instead of Teldrassil. And as we all know, U.S. realms had a lot of problems. And let's talk about what happened. We don't know what happened. We don't know exactly what happened, but according to we do. We have a very good idea. And Ian in the Q&A said, obviously this wasn't the smoothest launch, it wasn't the experience they wanted to deliver or that we, the players, deserve. Fair. Right away, and he opened the Q&A by talking about this. In North America, there was a lot of issues with login and account servers. This was traced back to the one-time process that was being run to convert a guild to a community when someone logged into a guild for the first time. There were some edge cases with really old characters. Basically, communities ruined everything. And I say that jokingly, but also with some truth, because they disabled communities much later on in the day, and that's when everything stabilized. Now, the servers went down at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and were supposed to come up at 3 p.m. Pacific time. But they came up way sooner. And I know a lot of people saying, well, why didn't they use the full time downtime to double check everything? And, you know, Blizzard's done launches before. They should have been prepared for this. And it's like, do you realize the scope of what went into the game on Tuesday? I was watching Pyromancer's video the other day that he made about this very topic, about everyone freaking out. And in the video, he makes a little snarky comment about himself. And he says, man, why is this pre-patch so heavy? It's like 12 to 15 gigs. It's like there's an entire expansion in here. And someone comments, yeah, this is the entire expansion. And he didn't realize, and he laughed at himself for it. And most people don't realize Battle for Azeroth is in game right now.
It's here, yeah.
Look
Look at your appearance tab.
Look at your appearance tab. I was gonna say the main thing is look at your map, but Jack and I say screw the map. Look at your transmog tab. It's all there. If that wasn't the first thing you did when you logged in and stabilized, I don't know what's your problem. Why wouldn't you look at all the amazing new stuff? Go look at the Warfront armor. Let's not talk about that.
That's beautiful. We're gonna go down that rabbit hole if we start.
We can't. Everything's in game. Kul Tiras is out there. Zandalar is out there. Everything is there in game. It's just not accessible. It's in the files. It's no longer a coming in the Battle for Azeroth expansion. That is all in game. That all got all the class changes, the system changes, communities. From what Ian said on the interview, was one of the main reasons of the whole servers catching on fire. And I don't technically understand, but I can imagine that in order to convert a guild to a community, there was, as he said, that this one-time, I guess, line of code that passed the river account when you logged in. But with old characters, that was causing a lot of stability problems, which is why some people could get on and some people couldn't.
So there's this simple reason why the old characters is a problem that was easy to slip under their radar as an edge case, because when we're doing testing, nobody's using an old character. We're all using new characters. Even if it's been copied over, it's a copy. It's not the character. It's a new character with some of the data copied over from another character. So on the beta, on the PTR, on Blizzard's QA, most likely, we're all using fresh characters that have had a lot of stuff stripped away. And so these edge cases that are arising on live with very, very old characters, I doubt old characters have been a problem in the past, by the way. So they weren't expecting it to be a problem now. And when this came to live, they had no way of knowing that old characters would be a problem with communities. So that's why, you can't expect them to know every possible little mistake that could or little wrench that could be thrown into the machine, because they're literally thousands, if not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of moving parts and new code and new items and new systems and systems that have been radically altered. And they try their best to screen through every single thing. And since there was only one issue, they did a great job. And, instead of berating them, you should really be thankful that they actually caught it so quickly and were able to isolate it as communities with these really old characters. They had to spend a lot of time after hours scrambling to fix this. In the past, things like this could have taken days to fix.
I'm really glad you jumped in there with kind of an in perspective of how it works, because I'm not in game design, and I know you know a lot about game design and stuff like that. You know people in the industry and stuff like that, so it's good because as you said, Jack, they haven't faced that problem in the past with old characters before. So why would it be on their radar for something so small but so damaging? And another thing I thought, and this could have nothing to do with it, but when they tested the communities on Alpha, the communities were tested across the Alpha servers, right? Or the beta servers, across factions. But I don't think communities were tested Battle.net-wise on the beta or Alpha.
I don't know.
So I'm wondering. I thought maybe that was another issue, in that suddenly they had all the in-game problems going on, but maybe they caused some stability issues, not necessarily in Overwatch or Hearthstone or Heroes, but in connecting to those. That wasn't something they tested live in such huge numbers. Obviously, they did some internal testing, but maybe the enormous amount of people.
The Terrassians, you mean?
The Terrassians they all logged into Battle.net all at once, and it causes problems.
Too much weight.
Too much weight. They are thick boys and girls. But no, the sheer volume of people, and they have done obviously stress tests on the beta servers, and they did this PvP event with the Blues, and they said we need as many people online. But maybe that wasn't for communities, and I thought,
stress test.
If communities were already problematic enough, maybe the sheer amount of people, imagine servers go up, everyone on US Realms is making a community for gold making, for their RP realms, their RP guilds, RP communities. fan bases, all this stuff. Everyone's making communities. And Blizzard, who doesn't know that communities is a part of the problem at first, maybe that contributed to a whole bunch of stuff. Let's make an Overwatch community. Let's make a Heroes community. And suddenly communities basically ruined everything at first. And I completely agree. Instead of shitting on Blizzard, instead of shitting on, a lot of people said, Blizzard has done this for years. Everyone remembers Warlords launch. Yeah, you know what? People remember Warlords launch. You know what I remember? I remember Legion launch, which was flawless. Absolutely flawless.
Like, kind of ridiculously smooth.
To the point where,
Shocking
you were
smooth.
like, okay, something's going to happen. It has to happen. And nothing did happen. Which
Have my character's been deleted?
Am I on beta?
Oh, that was me.
Did I log into the wrong? Am I on a private server? What's going on?
What's happening?
And what's interesting is I remember Legion pre-patch dropping and it being a little bit shaky, which is why I thought, okay, Legion launch is going to be awful, but it wasn't. Legion launch was amazing, and that's why I think,
That's why they're pushing out so much of the BFA content now, is because they can smooth this out when it's just a pre-patch, right? When all we're really going to get to do is play with some new class features, and the story content isn't even out. They can smooth out all of BFA now, so that when the launch does happen, it's beautiful, just like it was in Legion.
And
which is, I'm sure, the point you were arriving at.
It will. What I was going to say is just that, in that there is no story content this week, because, and when you listen to this, it's going to be week 2 of 8.0, but the first week of 8.0, there was no story content. And the reason they did it was because they knew things would be happening. They knew new changes would be happening. It gives you a time to run and around and test your class and stuff like this, and go into old dungeons and then realize, Dead Mines is impossible to do at level 80. All this stuff, people are testing stuff, and there's no new content. They're going to get it out for next week, but this is the time to do it. And I honestly think the 8.0 or the Battle for Azeroth launch on August 13th, global worldwide launch, I think is going to be smooth. They have weeks to prepare for it. The Overwatch launch was very smooth. Not perfect, but very smooth. And that launched globally as well. So everyone's saying, man, Battle for Azeroth is going to be a horrible launch. This was the worst part, and maybe it will be an awful launch. If it happens, it happens, and unfortunately, mistakes happen. But I got so frustrated just reading comments. Blizzard has had expansions to improve, and indie company doesn't even know how to launch a pre-patch. How are they going to do an expansion? It's like, you realize this was the expansion, right? This was all of Battle for Azeroth. Ugh, I got frustrated reading those comments.
Yeah, Battle for Azeroth isn't going to be another patch. It's just going to be it might be a little patch, but it's going to be an unlocking things.
Literally flip of a switch. Our accounts have it. Like if you've pre-ordered and you have the collector's edition, you have one key.
I've had it forever.
Jack had it before it came out.
I've had it since Burning Crusade, honestly.
The cult your ass horse has been on your account for 9 years.
8 years.
No, but if you have the expansion on your account, one key is opened. The only other key that's left to be opened is Blizzard making it playable. Right now, technically, if we could, the 5 keys, if Blizzard could, if there wasn't any of this Blizzard locking, we could swim to Culture Ass right now. We could go to Zandalar right now, because it's all the files are in game. But kudos to you, Blizzard, for figuring everything out. And obviously, they did the right thing by disabling communities for EU launch, and EU launch was flawless, beautifully flawless.
I have one more thing to say.
Go.
And I think it's just that frustration at a launch like this is understandable. You're really excited, you've been waiting for this patch to hit, you want to try your new class abilities.
100% agreed.
And everybody gets that. I'm sure Blizzard gets that. We get that. Jesse and I get that. But have some. I just say, think about it. Think about what Blizzard's doing to help you get in game. Think about how hard they're working, over hours, as fast as they can, putting all their heads together so that you can go in and have fun. They didn't overlook this on purpose. They're spending so much of their time when they could be at home, just chilling, playing the game themselves, and I don't know, just tweet at them and say thank you. Don't say your shit if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Just be like, hey, sorry that didn't go so well. It was really shitty, but I appreciate you spending some extra time and fixing it so fast. Because it could have been days.
It could have been. And people actually think that, Blizzard was sitting there cackling, like that old picture, that meme picture when you see like all these dudes in suits like looking at each other laughing. Like, that wasn't Blizzard. Blizzard wasn't sitting back, rocking, slapping their knees, going, look at these nerds who can't get on. You do realize they want you to play the game, right? They want you in there. That's their job. They didn't get in this morning and said, who is ready to fuck everyone's day up? I hope the entire player base booked off the day, because we're going to fuck with them. Europeans, you're cool. But anyone in the US realms, screw you guys, because we're gonna mess with you all day. Really, like, Blizzard would have much preferred a smoother launch. And then there's people who say they didn't prepare for it. That they literally just went, oh no, we're good for a launch. Yeah, no, let's ignore all feedback from the past. You really think a company like Blizzard Entertainment ignored all possible options on what could have happened and just said, nah, we'll wing it. We pull the Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. No, that's not what happened. And anyone who thinks that doesn't understand gameplay. It's a mindless circle jerk of a small indie company doesn't know how to prepare for game launch. It's like, holy crap, you realize that it's a slight misprint in code in game and the whole friggin' servers go up in flames. I don't understand what happened to its science, but I was frustrated. I just wanted to look at the awesome new transmog. I just wanted to test my classes. And I couldn't even get past. I logged in. I opened my my realm list, and all my characters were gone. I was like, all right, cool. Guess I didn't want to play any of my characters from, 12, 13, 14 years ago. Thanks, Blizzard. But it, honestly, they didn't delete my characters. It was just server problems, right? And yeah. I had the day off. It was beautiful. I went to the gym that morning, and I got home. I'm like, I'm gonna sit on my ass for the next 9 hours and play 8.0. And 10 hours later, I still wasn't on. And I was like, what is going on? But I wasn't calling Blizzard and telling their families to disown the employees. Like, come on, guys. But I understand most of the player base who's listening to this wasn't like that. Because you guys are awesome. You guys I know who are listening to this, you guys are good people. And I know you wouldn't treat Blizzard like off. Blizzard makes mistakes. And they said in the Q&A, this wasn't the experience that we wanted to deliver, and this wasn't the experience you deserved. So, like, come on, you got to take it at that, in that they did everything in their power. Thank them for getting it fixed as soon as possible. And EU realms, even though you get stuff a day later, your launch was flawless. Your launch was beautiful because Blizzard knew exactly what to do to prevent 8.0 Teldrassil on fire from happening on EU realms like it did on US realms. So we're gonna stop berating everyone now about this. The main point is problems are better now instead of at launch. Because if they waited for all this to happen with the launch, oh man, we remember Legion, we remember Warlords launch. I don't, because I didn't play Warlords launch. I was actually still in California after BlizzCon that year. But
oh, look at you.
I remember looking at Twitter. We were, what we decided to do that year is we decided to stay in California a week after BlizzCon because we were going to go to the Warlords launch event in Irvine, California. Because we're like, screw, if we can go to an expansion launch event at Blizzard headquarters or near Blizzard headquarters, that's awesome. So we were there, and I was browsing Twitter when it was happening, and I was like, oh no. And I remember I was in line talking to some of the developers, and they just said, are you guys watching Twitter? And they're like, no. And they open Twitter and they're like, "Oh my god, the servers are on fire." And obviously people are going to say, "Oh wow, Warlords launch sucked because all the developers were out of this party." No, it was just the main dudes there, the leads of each of the team. But I remember talking to someone and he took a phone call and he goes, "Yep, this is the office. I got to go." And I didn't experience Warlords launch, but I know it was a shit show for days.
See, they didn't even get to go to their party because they had to go fix your shit.
Yeah, so they missed out on They missed out on talking to me, which was probably a good thing. But
which is it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, apparently. That was years ago, and Legion launch was flawless. So don't worry, guys. Battle for Frostwolf will be great. The only thing on fire is going to be a World Tree. That's it. And
we don't know who does that either. We don't know who sets that thing on fire.
Ooh, we're gonna talk about that.
We're gonna throwing that out.
We're gonna talk about that. That's we'll leave a little bit of a little pinch of speculation, and we'll come full circle to that. Let's continue talking about 8.0. But let's talk about 8.0 in a positive manner. What is your favorite part of 8.0 so far, Jack?
The fact that Sylvanas hasn't done anything wrong.
Shut up.
I'm just kidding.
Yet. Hasn't done anything wrong yet.
That's true. My favorite part of 8.0 is...
As if he said that. Fuck, I'm just leaving this in.
So, my favorite part is actually the class changes. And my number one favorite class change is having Fortitude back on my priest, because I'm definitely that dude who just runs around throwing it on everybody I see. Like a little priest fairy dust. And you get Fortitude, and you get Fortitude. Everyone gets stamina.
Like the Oprah of priests.
I'm the Oprah of priests. But the Warlock animations, holy shit.
Ooh, I just did a hand gesture. I did the okay hand gesture. They are
okay emoji.
The okay emoji. They are pristine. The new soul well looks amazing. You can see a little health stone floating above it. That's cool.
Oh my god! And the way it despawns.
I haven't seen it despawn. It's
actually cool.
Does it dissipate?
Yeah, it does this deconstruction thing. It's very reminiscent of the way things are in Legion.
Oh, cool! I like it. One of my favorite changes is just how fun Outlaw Rogue is. And when Legion introduced Outlaw Rogue, I was so excited. I was like, pirate duelist, pistols. This is everything I've ever wanted in game. And then I played it, and then I leveled through the Legion invasions on my rogue, and it was slow. Half the time I was just, what's the word I'm looking for? Auto attacking, waiting for enough energy to saber slash, and then I'd roll the dice every now and then because I didn't have enough energy for it, and it was just every now and then I get a good combo and I had a little bit of a fast movement, but it was very, very slow and very RNG dependent. I didn't like it. I was very disappointed. And now,
yeah, I was too. I
jumped on my Outlaw Rogue and I went to some target dummies, and it was fast. I am swashbuckling and firing shots, and they have a charge now. Maybe that's always been there. I just didn't realize. But I have this really cool leap where I can leap into combat, and it's and with the new Mage Tower Outlaw Saber appearances that I got. Ooh. I look pretty fly on my Worgen pirate. So I'm digging those.
I had no idea. I had no idea that the Outlaw got fixed essentially. Because I remember I was super hyped to do it with Legion, and I felt the same way. I was like, this is slow, boring, and RNG. I don't know if it got better with gear and over time, but yeah, I felt the major lack of energy.
I thought maybe it got better with time. But it didn't. At max level, it just, and maybe some Outlaw Rogues that they're listening are saying I'm doing it wrong, and that's entirely so. I don't make a rogue, but just me keyboard smashing a few times in my rogue in Legion, didn't like it, and for the 25 seconds that I keyboard smashed in Stormwind on the target dummies, so that was really cool, and. Totally a side comment, but it's related. I don't think that pistols should be a rogue ability. I think that pistols should be an in-game weapon type. And I think hunters should get access to pistols. And I think warriors should be able to glyph their heroic throw to a pistol shot. And hunters and rogues should be the main classes, because right now, guns and bows and crossbows are only usable by one class. Effectively, rogues and warriors can still physically equip them, but they're not used by them.
Back in the day, I used to use the BOA, what is it called? Heirloom bow on my rogue because it had the best stats at the time.
Yeah, and you would have your ranged weapon, and anyone who's new to the game might not realize that, but back in the day, on your rogue, you had your ranged weapon and then your melee weapons, and usually, rogues often use throwing weapons.
That's why I used it. Yeah.
And it was, so you could fire an arrow to pull, but you didn't DPS with it. But you went for the stats, and oftentimes it was if you went for I think there was actually a special talent. If you had a throwing weapon equipped, you could expend your combat points, and you did higher the more damage you did based on how many combat points when you threw your weapon. So, but they decided to give ranged weapons just to hunters, which is fine. But I'd really love for pistols to be like an offhand weapon.
Or dual wield them, just be
that'd be so. That feels like very Guild Wars to me. And ever since Godfrey was introduced in Silverpine and he had his 2 pistols, I was like, that motherfucker has these 2 really cool guns, and I just would love to see pistols in game. And a rogue outlaw spec wielding a sword in one hand and pistol on the offhand. But maybe if you're assassination, you're still using 2 daggers, but you still have a pistol ability. You still have the an ability as well as a weapon. Maybe assassination uses no pistols, while sub could use a pistol or dagger combo, and then outlaw uses a one-handed.
If it's subtlety, has to have a silenced pistol.
Maybe, yeah, true. Maybe we'll give assassination and then hunters can use a pistol or dual. Maybe hunters are the ones who can dual wield pistols. I think Blizzard should do it. I don't think it should be just a regular ability. Hunter and then warriors can glyph their heroic throw. Why not? Why not? That would be cool if Blizzard did that. Other classes. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go on. I was going to start blabbing about Priest again.
No, go for it, because I was about to jump into other classes, so you're up.
Oh, circling back to Priest, I would say Disc is, they've polished it pretty well. It's really fun. It's super strong. I think it's the most fun healing spec right now, and I've seen others make videos and comments to that effect. I would totally agree. You're just sparkle badass as a Disc Priest, and it's really engaging to play as. You don't feel like a heal bot. You feel like you're doing things all the time, and it's just... and those of you who have other classes, looking at, Warlock, for example, Ian Hasikostas said that in the Q&A that other classes are going to get more custom animations, both like spell casting and effects. We saw them tease a Paladin one in beta where they're holding a Holy Librum and like turning the pages as they're casting the Holy Light spell, which is their basic healing spell. And then I'm not going to say it. And then they had to take it out because it had some clipping issues, unfortunately. But we could probably expect to see things like that going forward, which I'm super excited for. I'm so jazzed for way more cool spell animations.
That Holy Paladin animation was dope. I loved it. They use it in the trailer for allied races. They show a Lightforged on Makari using it as a Lightforged warrior charging into combat, and then a paladin in the background healing with it. And then they cut it. I was like, you tease Blizzard. It looks so good, but there was clipping issues. But like, come on, don't just abandon it.
It wasn't rigged right. It wasn't rigged right on toys, right? Was that
I think it was like showing up on people's heads when you were in different form. Like if you were in a player model form, you were good, but if you put on some weird toy, you weren't good. And I really hope they come back to it, because there's been a couple occasions where Blizzard actually removes something because it doesn't clip or doesn't fit well.
Yeah.
And the thing that comes to mind is the Frostwolf Armor Set from Warlords of Draenor. The wolf helm on it was designed to fit really well on orcs, and only orcs, and humans. Obviously, the humans is the default model, but it wasn't designed to fit well in other races. And so when they came out with the Frostwolf set in 6.2, they just didn't include the helm. They said, you know what, screw it, you don't get a helm. The coolest set in game with the coolest HD wolf helm, and they're like, nah, you don't need it. I still don't sleep. It's still restless nights because of it. And give
Jesse his animal face.
Give me my damn wolf helm, Blizzard. And here's I'm derailing. Screw it, we're derailing. 6.2 Hellfire introduced can't believe I'm derailing with this, but they introduced the two sets. They introduced the Frostwolf set, and they introduced the Caribor, the Draenei Cloth set, which has 2 recolor skins on Makari and Argus. You can get those Draenei Cloth sets if you're running around Argus, and you can get this really cool Draenei looking robe. A off color of that was introduced in 6.2. That was the original. And, Blizzard introduced a lot of transmogs. That's the 4 clan sets, the Stormwind set, the Orgrimmar Guard set. And people said, well, where's any Draenei looking gear? And they had the Shatari Draenei armor at launch, if you got to Exalted with that rep on Alliance. And then in 6.2, they introduced, for Alliance, the Cloth set, and for Horde, the Leather set. And the Cloth set wasn't so bad, because you saw a lot of clothies wearing it in Draenei temples, but, you did see Akama, who, sure, he was a priest of Caribor, but he was fighting like a paladin. He was wearing other armored pieces. He was wearing some of these pieces, yet it was only made exclusive to Cloth. Fine, whatever, I won't argue that. But then you've got the Frostwolf Armor Set, introduced in 6.2, for leather wearers only. Now let's think about that for a second. Leather wearers only. Now it makes sense. It's a Frostwolf armor. It's made out of animal hides. It's leather, so it's great for all those orc druids out there, and it's really great for all the orc demon hunters out there, and orc rogues. Okay, that's a thing. Orc monks. That's a thing. But let's think about Frostwolf set. So the Frostwolf Clan is a bunch of warriors, shamans, and hunters who wear leather. Oh, wait, no, they don't wear leather. They wear mail and plate. But, Frostwolf set, the Frostwolf Clan, they're known for their monks and their rogues, right? Right? I'm upset. 3 years later, I'm still upset. And here's what they just could have made it cosmetic. Yeah. Right? At the launch of Warlords, they introduce the Shadow Moon Cloth set, the Thunderlord Leather set, the Warsong Mail set, even though the 2 most famous war songs ever are Warriors, and the Blackrock Plate set, which that made sense because it looked like it weighed 1,000 pounds. But then they introduced the Stormwind Guard set, solid plate, yet it's cosmetic, and the Orgrimmar Guard set, your priest can wear it, Orgrimmar Grunt set, which all the pieces but the shoulders look like they're made of leather, yet it's cosmetic. By the way, that set also got no helm. I guess Blizzard just hates giving helms to Horde. So in 6.2, why, if they're only going to introduce one set, a leather for Horde and a cloth for Alliance, why narrow it down to that? Why not just introduce it as a cosmetic set so everyone benefits from it? Why, I understood making Shadow Moon Cloth and Thunderlord Leather because they were introducing one for every type. And then they got to the Stormwind and the Orgrimmar Guard set, and they said, fuck it, we'll just make it cosmetic for everyone. Then in 6.2, in the middle of expansion, let's introduce one more set for each faction. But let's make it cloth. And then for Horde, let's make it leather. I don't understand the logic in that. Jack, try and logic out of this to help me out. Play devil's advocate for me so I can scream at you and tell you you're wrong.
Oh god, I usually can play the devil's advocate, but I am so biased towards reducing transmog restrictions.
Right!
That I can't even think of a proper counter argument. Just give it to us.
I can argue
I can't even empathize.
It's a leather set, so they really wanted to sell that. And then the other part of my voice is saying Stormwind Armor Set is solid plate, yet it's cosmetic. Blizzard,
give us cosmetics.
And let's look at the Heritage Armor Set. That's cosmetic. I was going to say the Lightforge is a good example. No, screw the Lightforge. The Dark Iron Heritage Set literally is solid plate. And I'm going to be running around on it on a Warlock.
And looking like a badass.
But God forbid my Warrior wear Frostwolf leather armor. Ugh, it's infuriating. And I even remember posting a forum post about it, a thread, saying, hey, so you're introducing a leather set for 3, not even Demon Hunters, so 3 classes, Rogue, Druid, and Monk. Is that right? Am I missing anyone? No. Rogue, Druid, and Monk, and then a cloth set for priests, mages, and warlocks for Alliance. What about all the plate wearers and mail wearers of both faction out there? What about the cloth wearers of the Horde or leather wearers of the Alliance? Instead of just picking and choosing, can't you just make it cosmetic? And maybe no one saw it, but like I refuse to believe no one would think about that. And so with the introduction of, actually there is a point to this. This isn't a derail. This is all related to Battle for Azeroth. I made a tweet on Twitter on Lost Codex account. Magar, as we know, are coming in 8.0. Very soon, they're joining the Horde. And I think the time of restricting those armor sets has come to a halt. We no longer need Shadow Moon armor set to be cloth only. We no longer need the Thunderlord set, which consists of hunters and warriors, to be leather only. We no longer need the Warsong clan set to be mail only. And the Blackrock, because it's heavy looking like the Stormwind armor set, screw it. Let's make that cosmetic as well. Let's make all the clan sets cosmetic, and the Karabor and the Frostwolf set, because Blizzard, why?
Show us even more love. You've shown us so much love.
You have.
You withhold. You're teasing us.
And it's really weird how there seems to be just a lot of restrictions on transmog. And this actually transitions very well into the next point of some transmog changes that came in Battle for Azeroth. And as you might know, and I'm gonna introduce this topic because I know Jack's just eager to talk about this, but with
chewing on my face right now.
With your artifacts in game right now, you're still wielding your artifacts. And if you have a set of 2 artifacts, 2 swords, 2 whatever, you are able to transmog each of them to a different appearance. You could keep one as the Doomhammer and change the offhand to look like whatever you want, or vice versa. And you can do that still in game right now because you're using your artifacts. The second you equip non-artifacts, so you go buy 2 random greens, equip them. The second you make your greens look like an artifact appearance, both instantly take on that appearance. You cannot have, for example, the Doomhammer as your main weapon and then a random axe as your offhand. It will automatically be paired with the match. I haven't tried this on my warrior, but in the live stream, Ian said that as a warrior, if you want to use your flail in Battle for Azeroth, you have to use the matching shield. Now, why? There is a reason, and there's good news coming. Bad news to start. So apparently, in the interview, they said that it came down to a technical problem. And
we made that guess.
And we did. And actually, I think, Jack, you talked about this. We talked about this
talking is a kind word.
2 podcasts ago. And here's what happened. Basically, Blizzard had to make a choice. If they left it as is in Legion, where you can transmog both of your double weapons into changing whatever you want, it screwed those with really weird weapon types related to their spec. Specifically, Holy Paladins and their 2-handed weapon. Specifically, Fire Mages who wanted to use the sword, but maybe they only get a staff. Those are examples of, Holy Paladins typically use a 1-hander and shield, not a 2-hander. That was the Legion exclusive. Fire Mages aren't only locked to a sword. They sometimes get staffs. They sometimes get wands. So Blizzard had to make a choice.
I love wands.
If they left it as their Legion counterpart, where you could change whatever, it screwed with Holy Paladins and Fire Mages and stuff like that. But because they acknowledged that was weird, if you play a Holy Paladin in Battle for Azeroth, and you really love the Silver Hand, but you're stuck, like the Silver Hand being your weapon, but you're stuck with a 1-hander and shield, you can turn that 1-hander and shield into a 2-hander appearance. So you're no longer screwed. You're running around on your Fire Mage, but you got stuck with a staff. I'm pretty sure you can turn that staff into a 1-handed sword and offhand. You can't change the offhand; it'll be stuck to your sword, but you aren't locked out of your fellow Malorn. But because they did that, because they allowed these weird weapon to class type restrictions apparently a result of that prevents you from changing your offhand appearance. Now, before I let Jack dive into this, Blizzard did say this is not their end intended goal. And they even said on stream, Ian said, we understand that people have specific special transmogs that may only use one half of a dual-wielding artifact appearance. So maybe your special transmog is only tied to the Doomhammer. You don't like the elemental variant, so you turn that into something else. They understand that people like using one part of an artifact pair and not the other, and it's not something they want to lock players out forever. So for now, for the launch, it's stuck. But they did acknowledge that this is not intended, and they want to fix it. All right, Jack, you're up.
I am so glad that they. First of all, yeah, I'm so glad that that Ian immediately clarified this for us. I submitted like 4 different bug reports in 5 different places. I was on a crusade to find out what the hell's going on, and now I know.
Did your carrier pigeon make it to Blizzard?
I don't know yet. It hasn't returned, and somebody might have just eaten it. I don't know why they would do that, but you never know. And I'm excited to have that return. I'm glad that they're working on it. He did say that they'll also try to make the druid stuff more accessible as well in the future, and potentially add additional forms. Potentially, wasn't that something that he talked about, or am I pulling that out of my ass?
No, he did say that, and I thought that was very interesting because they want to. Sorry, I was chewing. They want to make the. So basically, if you want to use your muscle bear form in Battle for Azeroth, you want to use your werebear form from the Mage Tower in Battle for Azeroth. If you are stuck with a two-handed mace, or you are stuck with a one-handed mace, when you transmog to that appearance, your weapons will automatically be turned into the Claws of Ursoc. So you cannot be a druid running around with a really cool spear and turn into your muscle bear from the Mage Tower. The only way you can have your muscle bear is if you have the appearance of the Claws of Ursoc. What? Is if you have the Claws of Ursoc as your weapon appearance. Now, if you have a spear, you'll be able to transmog over that and turn it into the fist weapon appearances, but in Battle for Azeroth, that wasn't a problem. Because if you didn't like how the Claws of Ursoc looked, you could at least transmog them to look like other fist weapons. You could transmog them to look a lot more low-key, or, not, if you didn't like how it looked and you wanted to go for a more, more metal look, or more less druidic and more evil, if you got like a fell-looking set, there were options out there. But now you can't. Now you are stuck with that appearance if you want that particular druid form. And they did say that is not what they don't want that to happen, and that will be fixed. Not for launch. It's not going to be fixed for launch, but it is on their list. And in that little segment that he said that, he even said, because these druid forms in Legion were so popular, you're pretty much stuck with these forms forever until they do another form rework. Why not introduce new bear forms, new cat forms, new moonkin forms eventually at some point? If they introduce new weapon models for everyone every single patch, why don't druids get a new cat form or a new bear form? And that's something I have never thought of.
I haven't either.
You and I, and both of us don't play druids as mains, but when a new PTR build drops, I scour the hell out of that because it's like Christmas. I love looking at data mined weapons, and I love looking at data mined models for armor. But as a druid,
plotting your faction choices of the future.
That's it. That's all I'm doing is just like looking at future sets. How beautiful I'm going to look next patch. And if you're a healer druid or a boomkin, maybe not so much because you can opt for the no form option. But if you're a cat or a bear form, it doesn't really matter, because for the fights you're going to be stuck in your cat or bear form. And how cool would it be if Blizzard introduces a new bear form with a couple different colors and a new cat form, a couple different colors, based off of a new whatever the raid is? So, just off the top of my head, all the weapons and all the gear, all the armor that drops from Uldir, Blizzard is getting rid of class sets in favor of armor sets that fit the raid. So all the armor in Uldir and all the weapons in Uldir look like Titan-looking armor and weapons. Imagine a Titan-themed bear form.
Or a Titan tree.
Or a Titan tree. Like something like based off of Freya or Ionar.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that would be dope. Or, here's another idea. And Blizzard, if you're listening, by all means, in the Azara raid, when we eventually face Azara in 8.2 or whatever, imagine like a Naga-looking bear form, or a Highborn-looking Boomkin form, or something like that.
Fancy owl. Give me fancy owl.
Fancy owls. Jack will change to a druid. He will. If it's pretty enough, he will.
I will do anything.
That would be so cool. And I honestly think that Blizzard should consider doing that for major raids and major patches, is introduce these new bear forms that you have to grind and you have to get as drops. You have to earn an item or learn a spell or something like that. And just like the rest of us who are looking for special weapon types or weapon appearances, don't leave the druids out of it. If druids are unable to show their armor in their bear form, which becomes a technical issue, then give them new bear forms. And I thought that's one of the reasons people loved Legion as druids, was their bear forms or their cat forms were so out there. Muscle bear, laser kitty, amazing different forms that have never been in game before. So
sounds like an 80s movie.
Just picturing like a whole bunch of druids on roller skates rolling around like an inside arcade.
Crop tops.
but they're animals, so it's only going halfway down their bodies.
This is a furry 80s movie. That's what this is.
Good God. That's going to be the name of this podcast. Episode 14, 8.0, Furry's 80 movie. And it's going to be the thumbnail. It's just a whole bunch of, good God. All right. No more derailing. So, transmog problems. There were transmog problems, but we're good.
They're gonna save us and give us more things.
They will. Artifact skins are bind on account, and I found this interesting. Right now, if you unlocked the Mage Tower bear form on your druid, and you, for some reason, have a second 110 druid, because I know people love having multiple classes at max level, maybe different faction, whatever. So on your Horde High Mountain Druid, you unlocked the bear form from Mage Tower, but you didn't earn it on your Night Elf Druid. You want to go and use it on your Night Elf Druid right now. You cannot right now, because and maybe I'm wrong, but from what I understood from that transmog post that they made, was artifact skins are bind on account when you bind it to another weapon. But in order to change your current artifact in-game, so you are still stuck using your artifact, if you on your Night Elf Druid want to turn your current Claws of Ursoc, even if you're 110, into the Mage Tower, you can't, because technically to change your appearance of your... to change the appearance of your Claws of Ursoc, you have to go to your class hall and go to the altar to do that, the little tree. But if you equipped random weapons, then you could turn those random weapons into the bear form. So your artifact appearances are bind on account so long as you transform that appearance to an actual weapon, not to another artifact. You can't earn the flail on your Orc Warrior and then take your protection artifact on your Dwarf Warrior and equip the flail. You have to equip another one-hander and shield that's not your artifact, and then you'll get that, if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
So basically, people were kind of getting upset. It only affects you until you have your artifact. So I believe next week there are quests that reward weapons. Maybe. If it's not next week, it's the Battle for Lordaeron scenario. Those reward weapons, I know for a fact.
They do, for a fact, yeah.
So at the Battle for Lordaeron, you'll get a weapon. Once you equip that weapon, you can then turn that into any artifact appearance that you earned in Legion, because it will all be bind on account. Do not worry.
Replace your Alunath with like a stick you picked up in the forest. Cool.
Just the level 4 stick you get in Elwyn Forest on your mage. I am done with this HD beautiful thing. Give me a fishing rod, please.
Yes, please. Well, fishing rod's a little too fancy. It's got too many little doodads.
Actually, they updated the fishing rod. It's now HD too. Damn it, Blizzard.
Oh, is it? Fuck you, Blizzard.
It is.
I just want like 3 polys on my stick.
Don't give me polygons. Give me
Like just literally one triangle.
Give me vanilla. Give me vanilla models. No, thank you. Vanilla transmog is awful. And 6 people just left the podcast. All right, hunters. You want to dive into this? Was about hunters?
No, Haiti. So
Haiti or Hottie? Haiti or Hottie?
Oh, are people saying Hottie?
I don't know. I always thought it was. I didn't level it. I didn't level a hunter, so I don't know what Thorum calls it. I thought I just pictured him saying, "This is my dog, Hottie," not Haiti.
Was he attracted to the dog?
Maybe.
It's hot, so hot.
Maybe. I don't know. But maybe it is like the country.
So, I don't know. I just think that in English it would be pronounced Haiti, like the country. I'm sure. It's like I don't pronounce anything correctly, apparently. So it's probably Hottie. That just makes it sound so weird to me. But Haiti, Hottie, that hot doggy will be coming back potentially. We have not seen the last of the little pupper. Nor have we potentially seen the last of the other artifacts who had personalities of their own. You know, your little warlock floaty head friend, your sassy staff as a mage, your whispery little dagger with the eye just watching things, making commentary. Those guys will all be coming back. I know their names.
I didn't imagine that they would be bringing those back or confirm it so soon. So I'm glad that the hunter pet is going to be making an appearance in some way.
Supposedly Xalatath and Eleneth will still talk if you transmog their appearance to a normal weapon.
Yes, you will still hear the voice going on, which is interesting. Honor level is bind on account, so if any of you PvP'd on a multitude of characters, make sure to log into those characters, and all of your honor gets added together in some sort of equation or form. And if you're on a level 10, you unlock the first appearance of your artifact PvP weapon model for every single character. So if there's a really cool artifact model out there that you really wanted but you didn't want a PvP, well, guess what? You just earned it because you PvP'd the entire expansion on another character. So go take a look at it. That's pretty cool. I loved the look of the blood PvP weapon for Death Knights. But I thought, I'm never going to PvP on my Death Knight ever again. And then the other day, I went onto my Death Knight. I was like, oh my god, this is the best looking weapon ever. And I did nothing. I never did anything on this character. So that was cool. And you also, thank you, Blizzard. I thought that was really cool to make it bind on account. And now you've got, you get a mount as well. So I earned my mount at 15. And there's a list somewhere on Wowhead MMO Champion, somewhere out there, that has a full list of all the rewards for your PvP honor levels, I think all the way up to like 400. It's crazy.
Yeah.
A couple other random things that they said in the Q&A. The solo challenges, the Mage Tower and Legion, was so popular. Blizzard loved how it evolved over the course of the expansion and the amount of hype that it's gotten over the last few weeks before it finally vanished. I hope everyone listening got the appearances they wanted. I hope that you earned your challenges. I did too, and I loved how the community came together. I saw people giving out free potions and free health stones and free buffs outside the Mage Tower. I thought that was really cool and awesome of the community. So Blizzard said that they want to do this again for Battle for Azeroth, and they're going to come up with some way. And I hope the reward is just as important or just as awesome, because people were working towards it. Even though it got substantially easier, it was still a cool achievement to earn. Story and lore. That is all going to be hitting on Tuesday when the first of Teldrassil comes into play.
Get ready for the War of the Thorns. Okay, so can I just get into it?
Go for it.
So I do need to keep a spoiler-free environment in my own home, but I'm going to be vague here and a little direct. I think so. People think that Sylvanas is the one who provokes the inciting event in the upcoming story stuff next week. And you guys know me. I'm I'm a Forsaken enthusiast. I've been a Sylvanas fanboy, but I'm not an apologist. And I don't think that she's a good person. I think that she is not morally gray. She is pretty damn evil. But I don't think that she sparks this event. I think that
Sparks! I get it!
Yes, thank you. I think that it's somebody else, potentially Ashara, and, she may do lesser war crimes. However, I think that we may see that things aren't quite what we expect, and that'll leave the door open for her not being literal garrosh, or even like worse than garrosh, which is quite the feat.
Excuse me. Hello, Garrosh, and I don't say this ironically. Garrosh is pretty much at this point not as bad as Sylvanas. I'm just gonna say it, and people know that I'm a Garrosh lover, and he did some bad shit. But at this point,
Sylvanas doesn't nuke anybody. She just does biological warfare and melts your face off.
All the cool people in South Shore have something to say about that. Kalua's family have some
people.
What people? They're gone. What just happened?
You can't find me anybody to attest to this.
Someone just followed my Twitch account while I'm recording on OBS, so if you hear a really loud sound right now, that's what happened. Thank you, whoever just followed.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Like, follow, subscribe. But yes, I think Jack might be onto something, because we are going to learn very soon. We're getting.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Actually, no, they didn't. Blizzard announced this. There are 3 Warbringers episodes that are coming. One next week.
No, I meant my theory.
Oh, yeah, the theory. No, I've seen it elsewhere too.
Damn you.
But it is a very interesting theory. We were getting 3 Warbringer episodes. One about Sylvanas, one about Jaina, and one about Ajara. And the iconic shot from BlizzCon of Teldrassil with Sylvanas standing in front of it, and then the second shot of it on fire, the tree on fire, that comes from one of the Warbringer episodes, and everyone assumes it's going to come from the Sylvanas episode. But what if it doesn't? What if it's Ajara who starts all this? And you might say, why would she set fire to Teldrassil? Oh, I don't know, because Tyrande and Malfurion live there. She hasn't forgotten what happened a long time ago. She hasn't forgotten who's to blame. Xavius is dead 7 times over because of Malfurion. And her entire situation.
They don't hold fucking grudges.
They do. They don't ever stop holding grudges. They are just as bad as dwarves when it comes to grudges. And I think that it would be interesting. Now, I know that spoilers are okay on this podcast, but what happens with Teldrassil? It being on fire, aside from that. Sylvanas has plans for Teldrassil. That is fact. That is canon. Or at least it's data mined. And there are things that she plans to do next week that aren't morally gray. It's not, and Blizzard said in the Q&A, Horde, don't lose heart. Morally gray, don't worry, Horde. But there are things that Sylvanas plans to do next week that aren't maybe questionable. They're very questionable. They're Garrosh level of crimes. But maybe the fire is not part of that. And that is what's interesting as a theory. Sylvanas provokes this attack, but Ajara just comes in with the gasoline and throws it on, and it basically makes a bad situation even worse. Which is very Broken Shore reminiscent of the Horde fleeing. And that was an example of morally gray, when the Horde fled and the Alliance lost their king because of it. It wasn't just
a big misunderstanding.
It was literally a misunderstanding. I don't think this is going to be a misunderstanding. The Horde's not going to be like, oh, sorry, we were accidentally at the base of your tree, accidentally with soldiers, and then the tree caught fire. That's not a misunderstanding. They are there to provoke something. But maybe setting the entire tree on fire isn't what's supposed to plan. There is something happening with the Teldrassil attack that we still don't know. And I think Warbringers, these episodes, are going to really talk about that.
Oh god, and the old gods. I want to hear all the N'Zoth stuff. I want to hear all about the old gods.
Well,
we don't know if we'll have any of that revealed, but there's some hints.
I think in the Ajara one we will, because in the little preview shot we saw a whole bunch of orange eyes open all at once.
Where did she get all those tentacles?
Who knows? But, well, we do know. It's actually canon that We know N'Zoth is behind the Naga. Because
we know that, but like, how do you get tentacles? Like, how does it just grow over time? Is it all at once?
I don't know if biologically they're going to explain N'Zoth's like chemistry. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think that's going to be a thing. But I do.
Why do the faceless ones have faces?
That's the name of the podcast. Furry's 80 movie, and why do the faceless one have faces? I'm really excited for the Jaina one, because the Jaina one has a ghost ship. There's a ghost ship.
In her eyes? What's going on?
What is going on? Why is there a giant Terrassian ghost ship? What is she doing? Girl, what are you doing? And then what's really weird is Ajara falls into the water, as we know, with the Well of Eternity. And, at least it looks like Ajara, there's undead elves that are grabbing at her. Now, I thought it made sense with the Jaina and the undead in the shot, because you see like she's on a ghost ship and there's ghosts around her. So if she falls in the water, it's very Harry Potter-esque with the Inferi in the water. Yes. But it was Lord of the Rings.
With the dead marshes.
That's exactly what I was thinking when I saw the dead elves. And I thought, why are there dead elves grabbing Ajara? That should be the Well of Eternity. Why are there dead elves in the Well of Eternity? Why are there dead elves in the Maelstrom? What is going on? This is weird.
Thanks.
But, it's a preview shot. It's supposed to make you question things. I do think the Sylvanas one is going to be a retelling of her story, another view of her death. But I'm really curious if we see any sort of motivation, a cliffhanger, something new. Because, Sylvanas at the end of Before the Storm, we learn nothing new. So I'm hoping there's at least something. We see maybe what she saw on her second death, right? When she throws herself off of Icecrown. Maybe that's shown. Or when Godfrey shotguns her in the back of the head. Who knows?
I hope so. Oh, man. Because then we'll get a non-text based glimmer of her motivations, which I think will help a lot of the people who don't just scour the short stories and the novels like we do. Like, really understand her motivations.
I think we're going to bring it to a close here, guys, because everything that we want to talk about, everything that we want to explore and dive into is we just don't know. We don't have any answers. So we're hoping by next week's podcast we'll be able to talk about the burning of Teldrassil. Jack should be back. We're going to bring on Jack and someone else. We're going to have someone else. Haven't decided who, but we're going to talk about everything next week. This was just a little rant about 8.0 and the problems that Blizzard faced. And don't get mad at Blizzard. Let them fix it. Let's hope that Battle for Azeroth launch is good. Let's hope that the 8.0 story content next week is satisfying. Maybe we're going to see a cinematic next week. Oh, if we see a cinematic, yes. Oh God. If there's a cinematic, I'm going to try and do a recording, some face recording. Not so much like a reaction video, but a discussion reaction video. That would be cool to do. Maybe we'll put it in the podcast too. Guys, this was episode 14 of Decoded. It's a little bit of a shorter episode today. I do apologize. But I promise you we'll be coming back with some fresh, exciting, new, fun stuff next week. We have a brand new episode coming out this week, before next week, a new Lost Codex lore episode. War of the Ancients, Part 4. People have been asking for War of the Ancients Part 4 for over a year now, and we decided, you know what? It's related. It's the Well of Eternity. It's literally called The Sundering this episode, so we talk about that final battle in Zinajari with Azara in those final moments. People have been asking, literally writing on that on that video, when's Part 4? And it's like a year and 3 months later, and I'm like, oh God, we better go back to that. So we've gone back to it, and we've done that. That is just pending release. We are getting ready for that. So before episode 15, you will have a new Lost Codex lore video coming out, which is really exciting. And we got an amazing series of artwork pieces by Issei Silva, which I can't wait for everyone to see. It's a transition. It's a transition piece. It is 3 different paintings that transition into one another, and it is so cool how she did it. Oh my God! Think Warlords of Draenor, the animated shorts. Think the Emperors of Shahau. Think Warbringers. These kind of 2D moving transitions. That's what we're going for. And Issei just blew it out of the water. No pun intended, because you'll see what I mean when those paintings are released.
I'm pretty hyped.
Jack, and I haven't even told you what the paintings are, Jack. You don't even know. So you're like equally as hyped.
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know. I'm not going to tell you. It's definitely totally not anything to do with the Well of Eternity. That's a lie. So we are bringing this to a close. Episode 14 is now closing up. Thank you guys so much for listening. Jack, thank you for coming back.
I'll always be back.
Always. Jack will always be back.
I have several Valkyr left. I'm good.
He's good, unlike someone out there.
Unlike somebody else.
We are, if you want to know where you can find Jack's art station, Jack, you got to really post art station because we keep telling people to go there, but you only got 2 things. So come on, just draw forever.
That will be remedied soon. You're another piece up there.
How's your sketch going?
Oh, the sketch of one of my characters, that's going well, but I'm doing a full 3D piece with 2 fully animated characters. It's going to be awesome. So look out for that. I'm going to throw up an Instagram.
Ooh, you have an Instagram?
I'm going to.
Oh, that's exciting.
By the
that's
time
new.
You put this up.
I didn't know that was a thing. That's exciting. I'm learning.
So you can find my progress on there. I learned that social media is not entirely the devil. Like Sylvanas is morally gray.
There's also we can't talk about it yet, but there's a little project Jack may be working on for the Lost Codex.
Yes.
That is really it's unfortunately you had to restart due to power outages, which is the worst possible thing. The heat that hit California blew up Jack's computer. It caught fire, not actually, but anyone who knows who works on art projects, you don't save, or the projects themselves get corrupted, mistakes happen. So when we're closer to showing what that's going to be, we'll be able to show that off. Until then, I will link Jack's Instagram and all that stuff below. His Twitter account, where he posts once a month and yells at Blizzard for transmog problems, and his ArtStation account, where he has going to have a lot of new pieces up there. As always, guys, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/The Lost Codex, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. My Twitch streaming is going to be picking up very soon. Once I upgrade my ancient PC, just in time for Battle for Azeroth, I'm going to be streaming all the time. You guys are going to be able to come hang out, stare at my face. Speaking of hanging out, we have a Discord server that is bumping. It is so active. I love our Discord. Jack is always talking about transmog in there, and there are so many interesting conversations in there. Jack, by the way, Jack talks more than about transmog. There are other topics he talks about.
I talk about Forsaken and transmog.
That's it. That's literally it. But our Discord server has been so active recently, and I know you're out of time, Jack. I know you're out of time. Jack has to go, because I have to talk about one more thing before Jack goes, before we end this podcast, but Jack needs to leave right now. I've already held him hostage long enough. So, Jack, you are free. Go away. We'll talk soon. Thank you, Jack, for being on episode 14.
I am released into the world. Sylvanas has no hold on me.
That's a lot.
Just like Ayer. Is it Ayer?
Ayer, something along that.
The perfect way to end an episode is me mispronouncing a name. And with that, I bid you farewell.
All right, guys. It's just you and me. Me and you and me, yourself and I. Alone. Jack is gone, fortunately. Goodbye, Jack. He's on his way to eat sushi right now, so don't feel bad for him. Unless you hate sushi, in which case, gross. But if you love sushi like me, then you should be very jealous and upset. I was ready to end that podcast. I was ready just to let you all go. This is a post show recording that's going to be on live, so it's not really post show. But there is something I want to talk about. An interesting theory, and I think I might start doing this, where I start posting videos of other content creators' stuff that I found particularly interesting that week, whether it was new and I just discovered it, or it's old and I just discovered it. But let's start this off with a very interesting theory that I think deserves a little bit more. The ladies over at Shinies and Lucky Doos all right. The theory I want to talk about comes from a new video that was put out on July 19th by the awesome folks over at Shinies and Lucky Doos. They're a YouTube channel that I will post in the link description comment area content below that specialize in theories and speculation. And a couple weeks ago, they came out with the Battle for Azeroth login screen theory about dragons, and this one is really interesting. And now I want you guys to go and watch it, so I'm not going to spend too long ripping into this theory and just looking at all the details, because I watched it. I went in thinking, from the thumbnail, there's a paladin dude there and 5 keys, 5 torches, and I thought, what's the deal? Why what's 5 paladins? Okay, let's go. And I thought, the five Librams of the Silver Hand, written by my best bro Alonzo's Foul. That was what I thought when I went into the video, but I didn't realize how intense the theory was. Basically, the idea is the Il'gynoth quote, as we all know from Legion: 5 keys to open our way, 5 torches to light our path. And the theory talks about the 5 tenets of the Silver Hand, the 5 Librams that were given to the first 5 original members of the Silver Hand: Turalyon, Uther, Tyrion, Sidon Dathrahan, and Gavinrad the Dire. And Chronicle in general Chronicle 3 talks about these codexes, these chronicles of the Silver Hand, these Librams, and Chronicle volume, I want to say it's 1. They talk about it in the video. Talk about the first human, sister to Lord Dane, who physically writes out these visions and these teachings that she's taught by these 5 shining figures. We can assume that they are Naru, and they tell her all about the light, and she codifies them into words, and those become these 5 Librams, or become the teachings of the Church of the Silver Hand, and that goes on to make the 5 Librams, blah, blah, blah. I really want you guys to go watch this video. But basically, it implies that Il'gynoth's quote, the 5 keys that will open our way, the 5 torches to light our path. What if these 5 torches refer to the 5 paladins, the 5 tenets of the Silver Hand, which really goes down to talk about the light isn't everything that we think it is. The light there's a lot that we don't know about the Holy Light, as we saw in Before the Storm with Kalia Menethil at the end. Ugh, I get chills just thinking about that. So, all those 5 paladins are dead, except one. Except one! And what happens when Turalyon goes? Does Turalyon's death mean something for the old gods? Is Turalyon's death connected to the other Prime Naru? They make this really cool parallel about Zira being one of the Prime Naru, one of the original 5, to give the teachings to Lord Dane's sister, which turns into the Librams, which eventually gets passes down to Turalyon, who eventually rejoins up with Zira. There's this cool little circle. The theory is really cool. I went in going, all right. By the way, plus 10 for the thumbnail. I saw the thumbnail and I was like, all right, you got my attention. 5 keys, 5 torches, Ashbringer, Paladin. All right, let's click on it. And I loved the theory, every second of it. So I really want you guys to go check it out. I really want to talk about it, but I also just want you guys to go listen. These guys really dive into some lesser, not so much talked about parts of Chronicle. And they make a point of saying, like, there's these facts that are right in front of us that no one's talking about. Why? Why did we all just overlook these things? And I think there's something here, and I'm really excited for this. It's all connected to Uther's tomb being updated. Why would they update Uther's tomb? I like the idea that, maybe Uther's gonna come back in some sort of way. That would be really cool. But is there a plot point here? Is there something to do with Uther's tomb, the 5 Librams, the Paladins, Terralion, Old Gods. There's a lot here. So, guys, go check out the video called 5 Keys to Open Our Way Il'gynoth was talking about. It is a video on the Shinies and Lucky Doos YouTube channel. Go check them out. Go subscribe to them. They have a link to their Discord. Go hop in, talk to them. They are really, really fun folks. And I really can't wait to see more speculation from these guys because they're talking about, everyone's talking about the big important stuff. What's Sylvanas up to? What's Ajara up to? But then there's these little speculations that could mean so much more that these guys are talking about. And I really can't wait to see what more comes from these guys. Loved all the facts that they just put out. There's a lot of facts out there and a lot of bits of lore that we could stretch wild, crazy speculations. I do it all the time. But their video just uses the lore, a brand new lore that's right in front of us, and just simple questions, simple puzzles that we don't have the answers to. It says it's such a clean layout in how they present the theory that I finished that video going, damn, I had never made the connection to the 5 Paladins and the 5 Librims. Well, obviously there's a connection there, but those 2 elements combined with the 5 keys, the 5 torches, whatever. I never made a connection to the pillars of creation. And it was right there in front of us. I really wish Jack was still here to talk about this, because Jack watched the video as well. Jack loved the video. And just go check it out. Check them out. Go check out Shinies and Lucky Doos. Awesome YouTube channel. Those guys are great. And they're also in our Discord. So if you want to, come chat with us, go join their Discord. Come join our Discord. Join everyone's Discord. Don't sit in your own Discord. Join our Discord, everyone else's Discord. Because that's what Discord's for, is just to join a million Discord servers. I would love to have the ladies of Shinies and Lucky Doos on Decoded, on stream, just to talk. I would love to pick their brains on all their little theories, because a lot of the theories that we're all talking about, we're all asking the big questions, but there's so many little theories out there that have so much potential that I think are just right in front of us. I loved watching the dragon cinematic, their dragon video on the opening title screen of Battle for Azeroth, and their logic and the reasons behind it. And I thoroughly enjoyed this video. So guys, go check them out. Check out Shinies and Lucky Doos YouTube channel. Check out their latest video. Watch all their videos, but check out their most recent one on the 5 keys, the 5 torches to light our path. Because maybe it's not Illyria who introduces the old gods to us. Maybe it's Terralion, which would be, oh man, what a twist! What a twist! All right, guys, this is actually the end. This is the end of the end, the end of the end of Decoded, episode 14. We'll be back next week to talk about world trees and fire, and just so much to talk about. There's a lot going on. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Decoded, a Lost Codex podcast. I am your host, Jesse, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye, farewell, and good night. Good morning. Maybe it's good morning if you're listening on the way to work. Have a great day at work. And if you have the day off, oh man, even better, have a great morning off. And if you're eating a meal right now, I am jealous. I'm actually not. I just had dinner. I'm pretty full. But enjoy your eggs, bacon, sausage, salad, toast. Or maybe you're Australian and you're eating dinner. I don't know what Australians eat. Fairy toast. That's a thing they eat. Kangaroo? No? Probably. Maybe. Stannis, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Locke, I know you're Australian too, from Shinies and Lucky Doos. If you're listening to this, I don't know what you eat. Fairy toast is all I know that Australians eat. I'm rambling. Enjoy your meal. Enjoy your day. And enjoy your week. Unless you're a night elf. I'm so sorry if you're a night elf. I'm so sorry. Oh God. Oh God. Okay, I'm done. We're done.